When the house is quiet and the lights are out, when the body has done its duty and sinks gladly into the mattress, then, strangely, the mind often grows busy. You know that hour. We all do. The day is supposed to be over, but conversations are replayed. We re-edit what we said and script what we shall say. We set up tomorrow's tribunal and call witnesses from yesterday. We make our case to an invisible judge. We plot safety, we run sums, we reckon odds. And the more we argue, the more awake we become. And the more awake we become, the more arguments we find. Have you noticed? The silence of the house becomes the stage for the loudness of thought. What are we doing in that hour? It is important that we see it clearly, because only by seeing do we have any hope of release. Are we praying? Not really. Are we abiding in God? Not quite. We are negotiating with thought. We are haggling with our own fears. We are saying, if I can just explain this to myself one more time, I will feel safe. We are promising ourselves that a better plan will quiet the heart. We are rehearsing our case until we think the judge, who is also our own fear, will be satisfied. And yet, with every new clause and condition, sleep is postponed. Peace moves to the far edge of the bed and says, "Call me when you are finished litigating your life." Now, why do we enter those negotiations? We mean well. We are not wicked people. We are seeking safety. We are trying to shepherd the children of our thoughts back into the fold. But we have not recognized the nature of the activity. Negotiation with fear is still fear. Argument with darkness is still darkness. Explaining ourselves to anxiety confers upon anxiety the dignity of a teacher, and it is no teacher at all. It is only a wind that blows and then ceases when it is not used. If we could stop here and ask, what do we do inwardly, actually, when the mind will not stop rehearsing fear, we might begin to notice how we give audience to every visitor that knocks. The voice of yesterday's embarrassment, the voice of tomorrow's account, the voice of another's opinion, the voice of our own accusations. We seat them at our table and pour them tea. We think, if I am kind to them, they will be kind to me. But they do not grow kind. They multiply. They ask for proof, and we supply it. They ask for plans, and we draw them. All this is called vigilance by the world. It is called prudence. But that is not quite true if you understand the nature of peace. Peace is not the wage paid to good negotiators. Peace is the presence realized when we stop bargaining altogether. So I would say to you very gently, as one who has sat many nights with his own mind, that sleep does not come by winning the argument. Sleep comes when the whole argument is dismissed, not with violence, not with self-condemnation, but with a simple turning. You will learn that we do not put thought out. Thought falls out when we turn in. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High does not debate shadows. He abides. He lets the word abide in him until there is no more courtroom, only sanctuary. Well, how do we do this? How do we move from the bench of self-trial to the sanctuary of God? Not by more words, not by a clever formula, not by wrestling. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. If in that moment we can be honest enough to say, "Father, I have been trying to secure myself by argument. I have been trading with fear as if it had goods to sell. I withdraw my case. I withdraw my consent." God is, something in us softens. The judge steps down. The lights lower of their own accord. Thought, finding no opponent, no negotiator, no buyer, folds up its wares and leaves. Be not afraid. God is. This is not theory. It is practice. It is what you do with it tonight that will alter tomorrow. I am not asking you to become a better talker to your thoughts. I am not asking you to bully them or to flatter them. I am asking you to refuse the appointment. When the mind knocks with its stack of contracts, sign here, promise here, worry here, you need not sign. You need only retire inwardly, gently, without strain, and stand at the doorway of your own heart. with the simple recognition, God is, not God and, not God if, just God is. That word will not be shouted, it will be known. We are going to unfold, in the minutes and nights ahead, a way of retiring from the negotiation table and entering the secret place where the soul is fed and the body rests. But from the outset, I must say this, it is a private way. Keep it locked up within you. Go and tell no man. Do not make it a performance to win the approval of your thoughts or your neighbors. Do not bargain with God for outcomes. We are not adding another argument to the pile. We are laying the entire pile on the altar and walking away into silence. Now someone will say, but if I do not plan, will I not be unprepared? That is not the question of the Spirit. That is the old negotiator seeking one more clause. Of course, we plan our days in their proper hour, but midnight is not the hour of planning. It is the hour of abiding. Of course, we review our conduct for correction in the light of morning, but the bed is not the bench of condemnation. It is the chapel. The soul does not digest fear at night. It digests grace, and grace is not secured by argument. Grace is realized by presence. Tonight, when you lay your head upon the pillow and the first witness of worry approaches to make its speech, do not be rude and do not be impressed. Simply say within yourself, I hear you, but I am not your court. Then simply turn to the place within where no words are necessary. Let the breath come and go without management. Whisper, if whisper you must, be not afraid. God is, and then be still. If another thought comes, do not bargain. Do not sell it peace for a price. Do not buy its wares. Return to the simple recognition. In proportion as you dwell, the negotiation dissolves. In proportion as the word abides in you, sleep becomes the fruit, not the goal. This is the orientation. This is the naming of the night. Now we begin to prepare for a holy experiment in which the bed becomes our altar and the darkness a friendly veil for the light within. We shall take up the practices quietly, and we shall keep them quietly. It is in what we do with this, alone with the Father, that the mind learns its rest and the heart learns its hymn. Be not afraid. God is. Now we come to the heart of the matter. If there is a reason why midnight grows so noisy, it is that in those hours we secretly crown a second power and then kneel to it. We do not do this maliciously. We do it ignorantly. We bow to time. It is late, and if I do not sleep, tomorrow will punish me. We bow to consequences. This choice will ruin or rescue me. We bow to disease. This ache can master me. We bow to money. This number in the bank is my life. We bow to other people's opinions. Their judgment can define me. Some of us even kneel to our own past. My mistake has power to bind me. And then we begin to bargain with those altars we have set up. That is the engine of the night. If we are to be free, we must ask the simplest question. If God is the all-power, where is the power in a thought to torment us? Where is the power in a clock to threaten us? Where is the power in tomorrow's appointment, in a report, in a rumor, in a lab result? Now, do not think I am saying there are no appointments, no reports, no bodies with sensations. I am saying they have no authority over the life that is hid with Christ in God. Thou couldst have no power over me unless it came from the Father. So long as we grant a second power, we sign the contract and receive its anxiety. When we withdraw consent, the contract dissolves. Be not afraid. God is. This is not a new philosophy. It is the Master's way. He did not go about fighting demons as if they were powers. He recognized one power and rested in it. It is not that God heals disease. It is that disease has no power in the presence of realized oneness. It is not that God fixes tomorrow. It is that tomorrow has no authority in the presence of realized now. So with us at 2 in the morning, we do not make friends with fear, nor do we attack it. We disinvest it. We let it be what it is, a voice without jurisdiction, a wind without weight, a shadow without substance when the light is on. Someone will say, but the bank will call in the morning, the test will come, the meeting is on the calendar. Of course, we are not ostriches hiding our heads. We are not pretending that pain is pleasant or that an obligation is not an obligation. We are doing something far more radical and far more sane. We are refusing to confer power upon any condition to govern our peace, our being, our rest in God. We conduct our duties by day as they are given us, in wisdom and in order. But in the night we return to the sanctuary where dominion is remembered. In that remembrance, the shape of tomorrow is often changed. But even when the outer picture proceeds, it meets a different consciousness, and so its sting is gone. Be not afraid. God is. Let us examine a few of these so-called powers that bully us at 2 a.m. Time says, "It is too late. You have already lost the sleep you need." Who made time an authority? When did a number on a clock become a law over the soul? A thought says, "You will fail." By what charter did that thought receive the right to prophesy? Money says, "I am your security or your insecurity." Who granted numbers sovereignty over being? Disease whispers, "I can end you." In whose universe could an effect overrule its cause? If God is life, then life is the cause, and effects cannot usurp it. Look at these quietly and ask, where is your power except in my belief? And then, lovingly, withdraw belief. Now hear this cadence, not as a chant to control events, but as a reminder to the heart, be not afraid. God is. Not God will be if I do everything right. Not God might be if I talk nicely to fear. God is. That present tense is the ground of our rest. In that isness, thought finds nothing to argue with. In that isness, the sense of another power has no landing strip. I do not offer you a positive thinking device. I offer you the remembrance of reality. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. Let it. Let those words, God is, use you to lift your consent from every counterfeit altar. I know the habit of the mind. The moment you whisper, God is, another thought pops up. Yes, but what about that email, that diagnosis, that debt? That is the tempter offering you a crown for fear. Do not wrestle. Do not submit. Simply do not enthrone it. Smile inwardly and say, you could have no power over me unless it came from the Father, and the Father is one power, love, life, law. And then turn back, as we have begun to learn, to the inner quiet. Return. Return without strain. In proportion as we dwell, the pull of the second power dissolves like mist before the morning. Understand what this does not mean. It does not mean we deny a responsibility or disobey wisdom. It means we refuse to live under bondage to form. We serve God. We do not serve fear. We accept that challenges will appear in the theater of human experience. We do not accept that they are God's. If a letter must be written, it will be written in the morning, under guidance. If a physician must be consulted, he will be consulted in peace, without panic. But when the house is dark and the soul is called into the secret place, we do not bring these altars into the sanctuary. We leave them at the door and step into the one presence, the one power. There the burden drops of itself. You will find that the night is an excellent classroom. The day is full of distractions. It is easy to imagine that things outside are managing us. But at 2 in the morning there is no crowd, no noise. The so-called powers are naked. The clock, the bank balance remembered, the sentence someone spoke, the symptom that twitches. This is a gift. Here you may see the mechanism of fear plainly. Here you may practice withdrawing its crown. When the thought arises, do not analyze it. Do not answer point by point. Let it rise, let it hover, and quietly know, God is. Let the breath move ungoverned. Let the body lie as if in a temple. let the Word abide in you and you in the Word. Try it this very night, not as a test of God, not as a bargain for sleep, but as obedience to reality. When the wave of fear comes, be not afraid, God is. When the picture of tomorrow's danger appears, be not afraid, God is. When the ache says, I am your master, answer silently, you are not a power, God is. Then be still. If you find that a minute later you are in conversation with the picture again, do not accuse yourself. That too is a trick of the second power, to become a judge. Gently return. In that simple discipline, repeated without violence, a new center of being is formed. The soul learns where to live. Let us agree together then that at 2 a.m. there are not two powers. There is not God and time. There is not God and disease. There is not God and opinion, God and money, God and past. There is God. There is life. There is law, that is love. And as we abide in that, we shall bear fruit, peace, rest, guidance, without strain. This is the revelation that loosens the night's knot. It will not be our brilliance that sets us free. It will be our willingness to let go of our altars and abide. Keep it private. Go and tell no man. Do not argue for it in the daylight marketplace. Demonstrate it in the quiet. And you will discover that overthinking loses its grip not because you have grown stronger than fear, but because you have stopped crowning it. Be not afraid. God is. Now, having refused to enthrone a second power, we must learn what it means to abide, because without abiding, all our refusals remain as ideas, and ideas do not rest the heart. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Notice the word, dwelleth. It does not say, he that visits, or he that peeks in the doorway and then runs back to the marketplace. It says, dwelleth. To dwell is to live, to remain, to let the furniture of consciousness be placed in that room and to sit down. So with us, if we are to know peace at night, we must move from thinking about God to dwelling in God. Now someone will say, isn't thinking about God a good thing? Well, of course, it is better to think of God than to rehearse fear. But that is not quite abiding. Thinking about God is still us doing something. Abiding is consenting to something already done. It is the difference between constructing a prayer and becoming still enough for prayer to pray itself. We have a tendency, especially when sleep seems far away, to take spiritual truth as another set of tools and to begin hammering away at our experience. If I say this verse 10 times, if I push this thought against that thought, if I concentrate harder, surely I will drift off. That is not abiding, that is labor. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. The sooner we become humble enough to stop using God for our ends, even good ends, the sooner grace can begin to move in us without obstruction. How then do we abide? We begin where we are, but we do not try to improve the hour. We do not try to fix our mood. We do not try to tidy the mental room before God can come in, as if God were a guest with delicate sensibilities. We yield. We lay down the arms called explanations and efforts and spiritual methods, and we slip into the inner chair that has always been there in the quiet chamber. We relax the need to solve. We relax the need to improve the moment. We relax the need to understand. That threefold relaxing is not indifference. It is faith. We are saying, in effect, Father, thou art already here. Thou art the life of me. Thou art the mind in which true understanding arises without my forcing it. And then we let awareness settle, as a leaf settles onto a still pond, below the ripple of thought into the felt nearness of presence. Do you see how this is not mental? It is not the multiplication of spiritual phrases. It is not the labor of holding a thought in place. It is the ceasing of grasping so that what is here can be known as here. The Master did not say, strain for the kingdom. He said, The kingdom of God is within you. The secret place, therefore, is not far. It is not in a monastery or a mountaintop or an exotic breath pattern. It is within, and it is now, and it is discovered in proportion as we release all attempts to make it appear. When the heart no longer insists on a result, when it no longer rides the horse of thought into the battle of outcomes, then there is a subtle folding back, an opening, and we find that we are not seeking the presence. The presence has been seeking us and has found us willing. Let us be practical. You are in bed. The mind has been tempted to argue. You have ceased crowning a second power. Now you are tempted to build a holy ladder to climb to God. Resist even that holy temptation. Let the breath come and go as it will. Do not govern it. Let the body lie as if in a sanctuary. Do not recruit it as a soldier. Say within yourself, quietly, tenderly, not as a command but as a recognition, God is. Then let the words dissolve and remain for a little while with the isness. If a thought comes and says nothing is happening, do not contradict it and do not believe it. Let it pass. If an image of tomorrow intrudes, do not bandy arguments. Let it pass. Your entire posture is consent. Consent to what? To the fact that underneath all the movement, God is. Underneath ideas of you, of the world, of success and failure, life is here, law is here, love is here. This is abiding. I know the itch to check the clock, to measure the progress, to judge, am I doing it right? Am I far enough into the secret place to earn sleep? That, too, is an old negotiation in a new garment. In this way, we learn to smile inwardly and release even the measuring. Abiding is not a merit badge. Abiding is not purchased by intensity. Abiding is a homecoming to what has never left us. If, in that quiet, you sense only a thin thread of stillness, be content with the thread. If you sense a great light, do not become excited by the light. We are not here for phenomena, we are here for God. Sleep, peace, guidance, these are fruits of the tree, but the tree is God realized as the very life of your life. Remember, abide in the Word, and let the Word abide in you. There are two movements there, and they are one. We still ourselves in the Word, God is, and then we let that Word do the abiding. We stop holding on to it like a wrestler. We let it hold us like a mother. In those moments, you will find that the mind's volume lowers without your turning a knob. You will find that under the surface hum of thought there is a spaciousness, and in that spaciousness a friendliness, and in that friendliness a holy ordinariness. It is not dramatic, it is sure. It does not announce itself, it simply is. You rest there not because you made it, but because it was always there, and you stopped standing in the doorway demanding reasons. Now, being creatures of habit, we will, in the first evenings, slip back into thinking about God, rehearsing, trying. When that happens, do nothing but notice and return. Return without blame, return without a new plan. Just as you have learned not to enthrone fear, learn not to enthrone effort. Be simple. Be not afraid. God is. Then let the syllables sink beneath the surface. Abide. We are laying a foundation. Do not hurry past this, because on it the rest is built. Forgiveness will have a place to flow when there is a quiet within to receive it. Gratitude will become pure when it is no longer the coin we pay for outcomes, but the song that rises from the realized presence. And the nightly sequence we shall practice will not be a technique to work. It will be a gentle walk through an already open gate. If you carry one thing from this hour into the dark, let it be this. Abiding is not what you do to reach God. Abiding is what remains when you stop climbing. The secret place is not later. It is now. It is not elsewhere. It is within. It is not earned. It is yielded to. And in that yielding, we find that peace has been sitting by the bed all along, waiting for us to stop arranging it. Be faithful to this, quietly, privately, without display. Go and tell no man. It is what you do with it tonight that will make the difference in the morning. Dwell and let yourself be dwelt in. Abide in the Word, and let the Word abide in you. Let the shadow of the Almighty cover you without your hands holding it in place. And when you discover that the room has grown soft, and time has lost its teeth, and the body begins to loosen into rest, do not congratulate yourself. Smile and know, truth has used you. God is. Now there is one piece of inner housekeeping without which the room grows stuffy again, even after we have opened the window of abiding. It is very simple to name and very common to overlook: unforgiveness. Much of what the world calls overthinking is only the tireless circulation of old resentments against others, against circumstances, against life, and perhaps most mercilessly against ourselves. We do not always announce it as anger. We call it justice. We call it caution. We call it learning our lesson. But watch what happens at night. The mind pulls out the ledger and runs its fingers over accounts that still ache. She should not have. He failed me when. I will never forget that they. Or the quieter voice. I should have known better. I spoiled it. I cannot be trusted again. And in that hidden bookkeeping, thought keeps circling because the heart has not released its debtors, and it has not released itself. Now, forgiveness is not a sentiment, and it is not a moral performance that earns us a gold star. Forgiveness is a law of God. Forgiveness is one of those qualities of God that, when it is present in consciousness, removes obstruction so that grace can move as it wills. When we withhold forgiveness, outwardly or inwardly, we are not punishing the other. We are tightening the channel through which love flows. By not cleansing ourselves of these emotions, by nursing our private indictments, we withhold forgiveness. And in withholding forgiveness, we are withholding the love of God from our own experience. Not from God, God is ever the fullness, but from our experience. The pipe has not lost its water. It has gathered sediment. Forgiveness is the clearing. Some will say, but there was wrong done. Of course, in the theater of human sense, wrongs occur. We are not whitewashing deeds. We are withdrawing the crown we placed on them. Remember our principle. There are not two powers. Resentment is our hidden way of admitting a second power in the past and granting it jurisdiction over our present peace. We are not excusing an act. We are refusing to enthrone it as a god. That is forgiveness as law. It restores dominion, not by erasing history, but by releasing its imagined authority to bind life. Be not afraid. God is. How then shall we practice this in the bedchamber? Quietly, privately. Go and tell no man. The night is not the hour to write letters or to rehearse speeches or to plot reconciliations. Those will be given their day if the Father so orders. In this hour we close the door, and within we attend to the one thing needful. Having settled into the secret place, having let God is become the soft ground of the room, we let the Spirit show us, without rummaging, if any face, any incident, any self-accusation arises. We do not go hunting. We consent to see. When a face appears, we do not review the file. We do not argue our case. We simply say, quietly, sincerely, Father, I release this one to Thee. I will not hold them in debt. They knew not what they did as temptation moved through human sense. Father, forgive them. Speak it within, and then let the words dissolve into the presence that is already forgiving. Include yourself. Some of us are kinder to strangers than to our own heart. If your own name arises, if an image of your failure sits heavily, do not place yourself outside the circle of mercy. Say, Father, forgive me. I knew not what I did. I was under a belief in two powers, under fear, under ignorance. I release myself to Thee. Neither do I condemn. And then rest. You have not excused. You have not justified. You have returned judgment to the only just one, and refused the role of personal judge and jailer. The bars grow thin. I know you will ask, what of those I cannot forgive? There are such hours. The feeling seems like stone. Do not force it. Do not manufacture a pious warmth. That is not required. There is a way given us in such a moment. We borrow the Father's forgiveness until ours awakens. Whisper, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Place yourself, too, in that sentence. Father, forgive me. I knew not what I did. Leave it there. You cannot use truth to wring a mood out of the heart. But truth can use your willingness. In time, often sooner than you imagine, the stone thins and a trickle begins. That trickle is grace moving through the law of forgiveness you have honored. Be content with the trickle. Do not judge it. Let it work. Understand the mechanics in the Spirit's way. Resentment is not only a memory, it is a stance. It says, I must hold this debt to ensure my safety, my dignity, my lesson. And in that stance, the heart is busy as a sentry, watchful, armed, restless. Can you see why sleep is postponed? The soul cannot rest while it guards the cell. Forgiveness lays down arms. It does not open the gates to danger. It opens the gates to God. When you say within, Father, I release, you are not opening yourself to abuse. You are placing your safety in the one law that is love. As that love flows, it orders your outer relations rightly, sometimes softening, sometimes separating, always guiding. But all that is secondary. The primary is this. The channel clears, grace moves, and peace comes as fruit. Let me invite you to a few minutes of simple practice each night. Do not make it long. We are not building a monument to memory. We are washing the cup of the heart. After your abiding has begun and the room has felt the hush that says, God is, say within, Father, show me if there is any I hold. Wait without strain. A face may come, a system, a nation, an institution may come. A season of your own life may come. Do not wrestle. Place them in the light with the words, I release you to God. You owe me nothing. I owe you love, and I let love be God's to give through me. If there is resistance, add, Father, do in me what I cannot do. Forgive in me as me. Then fall silent. If nothing arises, do not go searching in the attics. Be content. Perhaps tonight's house is already swept. Keep it private. This is not a technique to improve your reputation for saintliness. This is not a bargain with God for a particular outcome. You are not paying a toll for sleep. You are purifying the channel by which the life of God lives you, and you will notice, sometimes immediately, sometimes quietly, over a few evenings, that the circling thoughts grow fewer, that the impulse to argue with the night loosens, that the breath is easier, that the bed feels friendly. What changed? Not the world, not the past. The obstruction was removed. You ceased withholding love, and the love that is God began to make your chamber its home. We are discovering that peace is not something added to a cluttered heart. Peace is what remains when the clutter is forgiven and released. Do not hurry this. Do not dramatize it. It is a nightly housekeeping as natural as brushing the teeth. And if, in the morning, an outer action is to be taken, an apology, a boundary, a restitution, you will be told, and you will do it without bitterness. That is the fruit. But the root is this interior law, honored in the stillness. Abide in the Word, and let the Word abide in you. Allow forgiveness, the law of God, to clear the way. Then the river of grace, finding no dam, will do what rivers do. It will flow, it will settle, it will sing you to rest. Be not afraid. God is. There is another subtle housekeeping that must follow forgiveness, and it concerns our habit of gratitude. Most of us have been trained, quietly, respectably, to run a nightly review like an accountant. What went wrong? What must be fixed tomorrow? Where I failed? Where they failed? and then a little sprinkling of thank you if a small thing eased our way. Do you see how that turns life into a bargaining table? We approach God as if God were the clerk behind a window. I did well today. Please stamp my sleep. I will do better tomorrow. Please guarantee my outcome. Now, of course, this has a decent sound to it, but the fragrance is still transactional. We are counting coins with heaven and calling it prayer. Let us learn tonight what the Master shows. Gratitude goes far beyond money, far beyond events, far beyond the pleasing turn of circumstance. We are not to be grateful merely for any form of good, but for the spirit which underlies that form. When you receive a paycheck, you may say, "Thank you for the number," but the deeper thanksgiving is for the presence that is supply itself, whether the number is large or small this week. When a message arrives that soothes the heart, you may bless the words, but the true gratitude is for the love that spoke before words were formed. When a report is favorable, you may sigh with relief, but the holy gratitude is for life that is the cause, and therefore cannot be overruled by effects. Do you see? Gratitude is not payment for outcomes. It is recognition of source. Be not afraid. God is. Right gratitude is the companion of abiding. Thinking about gratitude still keeps us busy tallying. Abiding in gratitude softens the heart until it recognizes who is here. In that recognition, the mind ceases scanning the horizons for proof. It rests. It stops asking, "Has enough good happened today for me to sleep?" and begins to know, good is because God is. In that shift, the bargaining table is folded up and carted out of the room. Communion remains. Let us be very simple and very practical. After you have entered the hush of abiding, after forgiveness has done its quiet work, let a few sentences of gratitude rise, not as a list to impress God, not as a charm, but as recognition of presence. You might say within, slowly, as if feeling each word with the heart, "Father, I thank thee for thy nearness," then rest. "I thank thee for the impulse to pray that thou didst place in me," then rest. "I thank thee for the capacity to forgive that was not of my making," then rest. "I thank thee for guidance today, seen or unseen, that turned me from unwise paths," then rest. "I thank thee for the law of love under which I live and move and have my being," then rest. Go no further than your peace permits. We are not trying to say many things. We are letting one thing say itself. God is. Add to this, when it is true, a gratitude for protection that is not soldiering but overshadowing. He that dwelleth in the secret place abides under the shadow of the Almighty. Be grateful for the shadow, not for the absence of storms. Be grateful for the shepherd, not for the shape of the pasture. Be grateful for the vine, not for the measurement of fruit. In this way, gratitude returns to its throne as recognition of reality rather than a coin we pay for tomorrow's safety. Someone will say, "But must I not be grateful for particular blessings?" There is no harm in smiling over a kindness or appreciating a solved problem. Only do not stop there. Do not mistake the branch for the tree. Your truest gratitude tonight is for a living witness that God is available on earth, here now, in the very breath that breathes you. Your gratitude is for a presence that moves as health, harmony, wholeness, completeness, perfection, infinite good, not sometimes, not when the ledger is balanced, but by nature. When gratitude turns from counting to beholding, you will feel a softening under the breastbone, a loosening of the forehead, a widening space in which thought grows shy. This is the beginning of rest. If you find yourself dry, unable to feel thanks, do not scold the heart. That, too, is a temptation to make gratitude a performance. Borrow the Father's thanksgiving as you borrowed the Father's forgiveness. Whisper, "Father, thank thee in me. Reveal to me thy gifts I have overlooked." Then be still. Perhaps only one thread appears. Thank thee for this very desire to thank. That is enough. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. Even a willing thread is a cord God can draw upon. Be content with the small opening. The river does not need a wide gate to begin its song. Keep this private. Go and tell no man. This is not a mood to post or a speech to deliver at the breakfast table. This is the secret commerce of heaven with your heart. And notice, because I want you to notice the ways of spirit, that when gratitude is restored to its right place, the mind stops sending out little scouts to find evidence that we are safe, loved, provided for. The scouts come home. The village rests. Why? Because the source has been recognized. Having the tree, we do not fear for the fruit. Having the light, we do not bargain with shadows. Here is a gentle form you may take into the night. Settle, abide, forgive. Then, without hurry, 3 or 4 acknowledgments: presence, impulse to pray, capacity to forgive, unseen guidance, the law of love. Between each, a little silence. Between each, the resting word, God is. Let each thankfulness dissolve back into the one it thanks. You will find that what began as words becomes atmosphere. What began as a practice becomes presence felt. And in that presence, sleep is not achieved. It arrives. Peace is not engineered. It is revealed. This is the reframing we need if we would stop negotiating with life and start living in God. Right gratitude turns us from bargaining for forms of good to resting in the spirit that produces all good. It draws the curtains on the marketplace and opens the inner window to the night air of grace. And as we move next into our simple bedside sequence, you will discover how naturally these movements flow one into another. Withdrawal from thought, the recognition of one power, forgiveness, gratitude, and the quiet resting. Be not afraid. God is. We are ready now to walk together, not in theory, but in the quiet practice that turns keys in the dark. Keep it private. Go and tell no man. This is not a performance to demonstrate piety. This is the way we slip into the secret place and let the word abide in us. It is very simple and very sure. We are not using God to get sleep. Be very clear about that. We are consenting to God, and sleep becomes the byproduct of consent. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. Let tonight be such a night. First, we settle the body, but we do not make a project of relaxation. There is no contest to see how limp you can become. We are only removing the outer noise so that the inner song may be heard. So let the jaw soften, just a little. Feel the tongue rest from pushing against the roof of the mouth. Let the shoulders drop. 1 degree, 2 degrees, as if someone set down a small parcel you've been carrying all day. Let the belly be unguarded. No need to hold it in, no need to brace. The belly is not a wall, it may be a field. Let the hands be placed wherever they are most at ease. Palms open if they wish, closed if they wish. Let the legs be as logs floating in a gentle river. Do nothing about the breath. Do not lengthen it. Do not shorten it. Do not make it spiritual. Allow it to be what it is, God's wind, moving as it will, without your policing. In other words, we are stepping back from the body's levers and trusting that presence is already in charge of this temple. We are not achieving relaxation. We are noticing that we are upheld. Now, as the body ceases to call for our attention, we withdraw consent from thought. I did not say we fight thought. I did not say we chase thought. We are not soldiers at the gate. We are householders who have learned that not every peddler must be invited into the parlor. When a thought arises, and one will, let it be like a sound in the distance, a car passing your window, a bell from another village. We do not run to answer every bell. A memory appears. A plan for tomorrow knocks. A line from a conversation returns to justify itself. Let them be as boats sliding past on a river. You are not obligated to pilot. We neither push them away nor jump aboard. We simply do not grant them our name. The mind may say, "But this is important." Smile within and say, "Not even no, but nothing." Importance is the first ruse of distraction. As you refrain from chasing and refrain from arguing, you will notice that thoughts reveal their true nature, movement without substance. The habit of negotiation loosens because the negotiator has not shown up. Into that humbled space we establish the inner word, not as a charm, not as hypnosis, not as a trick to lull the brain. We are making a recognition, not working a lever. Silently, tenderly, without pushing, let the words form within. God is. Let them take their time. God is. Once more, as if listening for the tone beneath the words, God is. We are not shouting this into heaven. We are acknowledging an existing fact. We are abiding in the word and then letting the word abide in us. If the mind tries to use God is as a club to beat back another thought, smile at the mind and soften the hand. Do not wield the phrase, receive it. Let God is be like a stone dropped in a deep well. Let the rings spread without you moving a finger. Every time you say it within, mean less by it and no more by it. Fewer ideas, deeper recognition. God is. If, as is common, a small wave of fear rises, a pressure in the chest, a picture of loss, a sentence that begins, "What if?" This is our moment to practice the one-power correction. Be swift and gentle. Do not wrestle with the image. Do not argue with the sentence. Simply recognize, as one might notice the weather. This fear is not a power. There are not two powers. God is. If it is helpful, you may add the Master's way. Thou couldst have no power over me unless it came from the Father in heaven. And since fear does not come from the Father, it has no power. In other words, it isn't that God now must destroy this fear. It is only that fear has no law, no authority, no life of its own. Therefore, it cannot bind the child of God. Be not afraid. God is. Then let even those corrections dissolve, as a wave dissolves back into the sea. We are not to build a fortress of affirmations. We are to refuse to crown a second power and return to recognition. When the air has quietly cleared, we allow the forgiveness sweep. Do not go rummaging. We are not investigators reopening closed cases. We stand at the doorway of consciousness and say within, "Father, if there is any I hold, show me." Wait, unhurried. A face may rise. A sentence spoken years ago may sound again. A version of you, clumsy, ashamed, may appear. Do not review the evidence. Do not pick up your brief. Simply take what is given and place it, as if placing a photograph in the light, and say, "Father, forgive. I release this one to thee. They owe me nothing. I owe them love, and I let love be thine to give through me." If it is you who appears, say, "Father, forgive me. I knew not what I did under the temptation of fear, of separation, of a second power. If there is stone, if the mouth cannot shape consent, borrow heaven's mercy. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Father, forgive me. I knew not what I did." Leave it there. We do not force feeling. We honor the law. Forgiveness is one of those qualities of God that, when allowed, clears the channel of grace. Tonight, we let the water run clear, not by scrubbing the river, but by lifting the gate. Then let gratitude for spirit rise of itself. A few sentences, no more than the heart can carry without strain. Thank thee, Father, for thy presence here. Rest. Thank thee for thy government of all that concerns me. Rest. Thank thee for thy peace that passes understanding. Rest. You may add, as the Spirit permits, thank thee for the law of love under which I live and move and have my being. Thank thee for guidance today, seen and unseen. Thank thee for the impulse to pray thou didst plant, and for the capacity to forgive that is not of my making. Between each, silence. Between each, let the words thin and the fact remain. We are not cataloging benefits. We are not polishing trophies. We are beholding source. At a certain point, you will notice gratitude ceasing to be sentences and becoming an atmosphere, wordless, like a warmth in the room that requires no comment. When it does, do not drag it back into speech. Let gratitude be what it is in God, recognition. Now we abide beyond words. Even God is may be permitted to fade into the is it names. This is not neglect. This is fulfillment. We have come through the outer courts, settled body, withdrawn consent from thought, recognized one power, released our debtors and ourselves, given right gratitude. Now we do the simplest thing of all, nothing. We rest as if being held. We are not reaching for sleep. We are not measuring results. We are not peeking at the clock to see how successful we have been. The clock belongs to the marketplace. The secret place keeps no ledger. Rest as a child rests on a trusted shoulder, trusting the shoulder more than your own ability to remain or to let go. If a thought returns, we do nothing about it and nothing with it. We return not by effort, but by recognition God is, and then into the quiet again. The rhythm is like waves kissing the shore. Word, silence, recognition, being. Abide in the word, and let the word abide in you. Someone will say, but what if the thoughts come in waves and the waves are loud? Well, of course, on some nights the sea is lively. We do not rebuke the ocean. We remember our discipline. We do not win peace by wrestling thought. We win it by returning. So we return gently again and again. If the mind says, you have failed, learn to smile at such pompous notions. How can one fail at resting in what is? The only failure would be to enthrone the thought of failure. We do not. We let it pass and we return. If sleep arrives, welcome it without applause. If it does not arrive as quickly as you hoped, remain in the presence that is the greater gift. In that presence, even wakefulness is no longer torment. It becomes prayer. And often, just when we have ceased using the practice to get sleep, sleep lays its hand upon us like a blessing. Let me draw this together in a simple flow you can carry into the night without notes. You lie down. You close the door. You soften the jaw, the shoulders, the belly. You leave the breath to God. You withdraw consent from the parade of thoughts. You neither fight nor follow. You whisper within, God is, God is, God is, and let the words lower themselves into silence. If fear shows its mask, you do not bow. You quietly remember, this fear is not a power. There are not two powers. God is. Then, in the light, you ask, Father, is there any I hold? A face, a moment, yourself, perhaps. Father, forgive, I release. No files opened, no speeches rehearsed. After that, a few acknowledgments. Thank you for presence, for government, for peace, and let gratitude dissolve into the sense of God. Then no words at all. Rest, be held, be dwelt in. If thought returns, return. If you notice yourself clutching for sleep, smile and let even sleep go. Let God be God. Keep it brief. 10 minutes may be plenty. On some nights it will be 12. On others, 3. Do not clock it. Let it find its own shape. We are not erecting a monument to spirituality. We are stepping into a living river. Some evenings you may stop after God is because the room has dropped into quiet immediately. Do not go looking for more to do. On other evenings you may rest a little longer in forgiveness because a face keeps leaning through the curtain and you know it is time to say, Father, forgive once more. On still others, gratitude will open like a window and you will breathe that air for a while. This is not variability of principle. It is the flexibility of love. Above all, keep it private. This sequence is not for display, not even for your own self-congratulation tomorrow morning. Go and tell no man. Share its results with no one but God. By hiding it in the heart, you will discover that it grows roots and fruit unseen. and that the Father who sees in secret rewards you openly with peace, with a temperament less quick to fear, with decisions that rise quietly from within, and yes, with sleep that comes as a friend and not as a prize. There will be temptations. You won't be out of this bed 5 minutes before a thought attempts to bargain. If I do this correctly, I will sleep. If I do not, I will suffer. Catch it and smile. That is the old marketplace calling from the street. Do not descend. Stay in the upper room. Abide. There will be another temptation, to catalog this as a technique and to add it to your spiritual toolkit, to use on anxious nights only. Resist that too. This is no more a tool than breathing is a tool. It is life. The more natural, the more regular, the less dramatic it becomes, the more you will find that peace ceases to be an event and becomes an atmosphere. Remember the principle beneath every step. There are not two powers. When we withdraw consent from thought, we are refusing to make thought a power. When we say God is, we are recognizing the one power. When we forgive, we are removing the imagined power of the past to govern the present. When we give right gratitude, we are honoring the one source rather than the many forms. And when we rest beyond words, we are trusting that the one presence is competent to keep watch as we sleep. In such a consciousness, overthinking has nothing to feed on because the bargaining partner has gone out of business. Peace, finding no opponent, takes up residence. Do this quietly tonight and let truth do what you cannot. You will find, perhaps immediately, perhaps in a few evenings, that the atmosphere of the room changes. The edges soften. The air seems kinder. The scouts of the mind, sent out all day to check on outcomes, wander home and lay down their arms. The village rests, not because the world has improved overnight, but because the source has been recognized as here. Having the tree, we do not fear for the fruit. Be not afraid. God is. Now, because we live in this world of appearance, you and I must not be surprised when, within minutes, a new invitation appears to believe in a second power. You won't be out of this room 5 minutes before some report, some memory, some what if parades itself as authority. At night, when the house grows quiet, the marketplace folds up its tents outside and takes a booth inside the skull. The bargaining continues under a new sign. Urgent thoughts. They say, deal with me now or pay later. They say, you forgot to send that message. They say, tomorrow you will be exposed if you don't rehearse the defense tonight. Learn this. It is not your failing that thoughts return in waves. It is the world's way of knocking. Our work is not to hold the ocean still. Our work is to refuse to call the waves a power. So we must be trained in returning, and the training is gentle. We do not wrestle. We return. We do not strain. We abide. What is vigilance? It is alertness without fear. What is tension? It is fear pretending to be helpful. Vigilance stands at the window like a watchman who knows the city is under the government of the Most High. Tension runs about the house checking locks every 60 seconds. Vigilance notices a rising wind and quietly shuts the window. Tension sits on the sill trying to stop the wind with its body. We are called to vigilance, never to tension. He that dwelleth in the secret place abides under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwelling is not fidgeting. Dwelling is a settled awareness that presence governs, and because presence governs, we may watch without panic, correct without anger, and return without drama. Now, how do we return when the waves come? I want you to have 3 doors at hand, simple, unmistakable, always within reach. Do not stand in the hall analyzing the storm. Walk to the door that fits the weather and step back into the presence. The first door is for fear. The symptom is quick, a tightening here under the ribs, a picture of loss, a cascade of what then? Walk immediately to the door of the one power recognition. Within, without force, say, God is. Give it a pause. God is. If the image still flashes, add gently, there are not two powers. This fear has no law. And then back again, God is. Do not debate the details of the fear. That is the old negotiation. Do not bring arguments like logs to that fire. You will only make a larger blaze. Let the small sentence stand as a lighthouse stands, silent, bright, unmoved. Be not afraid. God is. Very often you will feel as if a knot has been denied permission to tighten further. That is enough. We refuse to crown fear. We recognize God. The second door is for resentment. The evidence will announce itself as righteousness. You were wronged. A face appears. A sentence comes back begging to be cross-examined. If you follow, you will spend the night retrying the case and wake without peace. Instead, step to the forgiveness door. Father, forgive. No preamble, no review. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. If the face is your own, Father, forgive me. Under temptation, I knew not what I did. Then be still. If the mind insists, but they answer it once and only once with, they owe me nothing. I owe them love, and love is thine to give through me. Then release it. The temptation will be to weigh their guilt again, to analyze motive and predict outcome. Do not. Analysis is the engine of resentment. Forgiveness is the law that stops the engine. We are not here conducting an investigation. We are opening a gate for grace to flow. Father, forgive and return to quiet. The third door is for heaviness, a grayness without story, a weariness that offers no sentences, only a fog. This is not the time for many words. Words in fog tend to scatter, they don't land. Here we choose the door of wordless gratitude. Not gratitude for things, but gratitude for the presence that underlies all good. You may begin with a small inward bow, as if tipping the head of the heart toward the source, and allow only this much. Thank thee, then no more. If more arises, let it arise as warmth, not as syllables. Sit in the warmth as one sits near a hearth, not doing the fire, only receiving its nature. Wordless gratitude is a cloak the spirit lays on the shoulders. Do not fidget beneath it, trying to embroider it with explanations. Let the cloak rest. In that rest, the heaviness often shows itself to have been merely weather without substance. We did not cure it. We simply did not consent to it as a power. Notice that in each case we have refused analysis. I must say this as a pastoral correction, because good and intelligent people are always tempted to work the content, as if, by solving the riddle of the thought, they might win release. That is not quite true if you understand the nature of thought. To analyze the thought is to accept its jurisdiction. To argue with it is to call it into court and take the stand as a witness under its law. We don't. We decline the invitation and retire to the Father's house. Take no thought for the morrow. Why? Because the morrow does not govern. Spirit governs. Peace, be still, said the Master to the wind and sea, and then walked on. He did not hold a seminar with the storm. So with us, our peace does not come by outthinking thoughts. Our peace comes by abiding where thought has no scepter. But if the waves keep coming, someone asks, then we keep returning. That is the discipline, and it is gentle. We do not measure how many times we return tonight. We do not post a score by the bed. We are not athletes chasing a personal best. We are lovers who return to a beloved face each time we notice we have looked away. No shame in looking away, no pride in returning, simply the life of love. A thought thunders. You step through door 1. God is. Another thought bristles with old blame. Door 2 opens. Father, forgive. A thick, unnamed weight sits. Door 3 welcomes you into the hush of wordless gratitude. Each return is shorter, closer, easier, not because you have grown strong in argument, but because you have ceased to negotiate. You are learning that presence, not pressure, is your home. Carry this practice into the day, for the day is the vineyard where this training ripens. Do not wait for the pillow to remember what you could have practiced at the red light, in the market queue, before the meeting, as you wash the cup. One breath. God is, instead of reading the news before it reads you. One breath, Father, forgive, when the clerk seems slow or the email cuts. One breath of wordless gratitude when the afternoon droops and you feel the reach for stimulants of any kind. Keep it quiet. Go and tell no man. These are not slogans to wear. These are seeds to plant in secret. By the time the night comes, you will discover that your bed no longer carries the weight of the whole day's unpracticed life. The waves will still visit, but they will find a shore already smoothed by many small returns. Remember, we do not win peace by wrestling thoughts. We win it by returning again and again to the recognition of God's presence. Returning is our yes, and grace is God's answer. Tonight, if the sea is noisy, do not despair. Refuse the second power. Take the door that fits. Step in. Rest. And if you notice that you have stepped out again, smile and step back. Be not afraid. God is. Now let us be practical. In the infinite way, we do not stop with hearing. We enter into doing. We do not gather phrases for display. We plant them in secret and watch the fruit ripen. So I am inviting you, no, I am inviting us, to embark on a simple program that will reform consciousness in remarkably little time. Make it 30 days. You will find a change in your life in 30 days, less than 30 days. Not because I say so, not because of the beauty of a lecture, but because truth, humbly practiced, uses us. It is not what you have heard tonight that will change you. It is what you do with it. The commitment is plain. Each night, for a minimum of 10 minutes, practice the sequence we have walked through. Withdraw consent from thought, recognize one power, forgive, give right gratitude, and rest in the presence beyond words. Keep it private. Go and tell no man. Close the door. Refuse to turn it into a project, a performance, a notch on your spiritual belt. We are not constructing a ladder to God. We are consenting to be found in God. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. Let these 10 minutes be the time when truth uses you for its own holy purpose. Choose no special music, no special incense, no special posture unless the Spirit freely leads you. Choose only this: regularity. As the day draws the curtains, enter the secret place. 10 minutes. Some nights 12 will come of itself. Others the room will fall quiet in 3. Do not chase a quota. We keep no ledger in the secret place. If you miss an evening, do not build a doctrine of failure. The next evening, simply begin again, as a child returns to a parent's lap without explanation and finds the lap unchanged. Add one thread through the day and the night will be lightened. When startled by headline, by message tone, by the look on a loved one's face, answer immediately within, be not afraid. God is. Do not decorate it, do not announce it. Let the sentence fall like a pebble into the day's pool and ripple outward on its own. If resentment pricks, borrow one breath for, Father, forgive. If a nameless heaviness droops the shoulders, let there be only a small inward bow and thank thee. Not for outcomes, not as bargain, but to turn again from forms to spirit. These are not extra credit points. They are brief returns that prevent the night from inheriting the day's unpracticed shocks. Now, what should you expect? Not perfection. We have not promised to hold the ocean still, but in less than 30 days you will notice unmistakable changes. If you keep this quietly, the spirals will shorten. A thought will begin its old bargaining and you will find yourself returning more quickly, almost before the sentence has finished its first "what if?" The edges of reaction will soften. The tongue will hold peace where it used to hurry to defend. The heart will discover that it is governed. I mean that literally. You will sense governance, an inner government, not of your arranging, that orders steps without fanfare. Decisions arise as if from a quieter floor of the house. Meetings that used to agitate seem less populated, with enemies and more, with brothers and sisters. The startle of the day will not disappear, but its authority will. There are not two powers, and you will begin to feel the practical relief of that recognition as atmosphere rather than as argument. By the time your head meets the pillow, the mind will not arrive like a packed courtroom demanding trial. It will arrive more like an empty chapel ready for worship. On some nights the waves will still visit. On those nights you will simply discover that you have trained your feet to find the shore in the dark. You do not wrestle. You return. You do not measure. You abide. Peace ceases to be a victory you win from the night and becomes the climate you are carried in. Sleep then comes naturally, not as a prize extracted by technique, but as the fruit that follows having honored the tree. A word of pastoral correction, because I know our human habits. Do not make a map of this 30 days and show it to your friends. Do not keep score to compare this month with last. Do not tell your family you are conducting an experiment in spirituality and require them to admire your process. Keep it locked up within you. Go and tell no man. What the Father sees in secret, he rewards openly. But the openness is peace, not applause. Gentleness, not notoriety. If you are tempted to boast to yourself, even smile and remember that the grace moving you is not of your making. Gratitude then returns naturally to its right object, not to your effort, but to the presence that made effort possible and made it sweet. Some of you will discover changes in less than 30 days. A habit loosens. An old accusing memory comes with less fire. The body, unharried by nightly tribunals, finds its own rhythms renewing. Others will find the change more like dawn than like a switch. Light broadened across mornings and evenings until one day you notice that the house of your mind has more windows. Accept both. We are not manufacturing results. We are consenting to government. It isn't that God will begin to do something new for you. It is that you will cease granting to fear, to memory, to thought, the status of a second power, and in that refusal, grace is free to do what grace has always been doing. So we close this invitation as we began it, with simplicity. 30 days, nightly, 10 quiet minutes. A thread through the day. Be not afraid. God is, forgive quickly, even if it is only Father, forgive, whispered without evidence. Let gratitude be for spirit, not for trophies. Keep it secret, stay with it. You will find a change in your life in 30 days. Less than 30 days. Not a promise of perfect sleep, but the certainty of a practiced refuge. And in that refuge, sleep visits like a friend who knows your address. We will end, as we must, not by looking to the clock, but by resting in the Word, until in the quiet we feel the Word resting in us. Beloved, let us gather the thread we have been following and tie it gently around the heart. We have learned, not as theory, but as a way to live, to refuse the suggestion of two powers, to stop the night's negotiation with fear, and to retire within to the secret place of the Most High. We have learned to forgive, to let the law of God cleanse the inner channels, so grace may have no obstruction. We have learned to be grateful, not for trophies and outcomes, but for the spirit that underlies all form. And we have learned to rest, not to work at rest, not to bargain for it, but to yield so thoroughly to presence that rest finds us as its own. This is the line of our practice. One power recognized, the secret place entered, forgiveness given, gratitude returned to its rightful object, and rest received. Be not afraid. God is. Now it is necessary to affirm this one more time. It will not be your willpower that produces peace. You can't use truth, but truth can use you. Peace does not answer to the whip of personal control. It answers to the open door of surrender. When we stop negotiating with fear and withdraw our consent from a second power, we are not making something happen. We are ceasing to prevent what is already happening. Grace is perpetual, like the sun that never quits shining because a cloud has tried on a temporary importance. When we lay down the armory of thinking, when we give up the case we have been building, when we whisper, "Father, forgive," when we incline the heart in simple "thank thee," then truth finds a transparency and uses it. And the fruit of that using is peace, quiet, steady, unargued peace. So as we come to the close, take this as a final instruction for tonight. When you turn off the light, when you set aside the device, do not evaluate the evening. Do not ask if you did it correctly. Do not grade your prayer. Simply let the little sentence remain like a soft lamp left on in the inner room. God is. If a face appears, let there be only, "Father, forgive." If a heaviness drifts, let there be the smallest bow of the heart and "thank thee," nothing more. Do not add wood to the night. Do not enter into counsel with the wind. Be still and know. Let the word remain in you, just remain, and allow yourself to be found resting in the word. Abide in the word. Let the word abide in you. And because the heart sometimes trembles as the house grows quiet, hear this with all the gentleness and firmness the Spirit gives. You are not alone in the night. The presence that is God is here. Not near, not approaching, not considering, here. There are not two powers in this room, not two powers at 2 a.m., not two powers at all. Whatever name the mind tries to stitch to a shadow, worry, memory, pain, lack, has no law, no life, no authority. Thou couldst have no power over me, except it be of the Father. He that dwelleth in the secret place abideth under the shadow of the Almighty, and under that shadow no terror rules, no thought reigns, no second scepter is raised. Rest in that. Be not afraid, God is. If thoughts knock again, you know the way. You do not wrestle, you return. You do not strain, you abide. The fruit comes not by occasional brilliance, but by quiet continuity. Return as often as needed. Return without drama. Return with a smile. Let tonight be the beginning of many nights in which you make no project of your soul, but simply take your place in the presence that has always held you. Keep it private, keep it simple, keep it faithful. What the Father sees in secret, He rewards openly. And the openness is peace, not applause, gentleness, not notoriety. In a little while, the breath will fall into the rhythm it learned before you could name it. The body will know that it is safe to release. The mind will discover that it is not king but servant in a house whose government is love. And you will not have made any of this happen. You will only have consented to the truth already here. That is our humility and our joy, truth using us. Now let us be very quiet. No more sentences unless they are given you from the hush itself. No plans for the morning, only this awareness settling like dew. God is. Let that light remain within as the room grows dark, and when the morning comes, and it will, carry a thread of this awareness into the day. Return to it briefly, often, secretly. The tree does not strain to bear fruit. It abides in its root, and fruit follows as law. So with us, we abide, and peace follows, we abide, and sleep comes. Be not afraid. God is. Thank you. Bless you.